I'll call this meeting to order. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our workshop. I would say Council Members Shepley and Hinman are excused today, and also it looks like Mr. Edmondson is excused, and all of the members of the council are present. Also, our Town Manager Cliff Gravier, Assistant Town Manager Terry Tiemann, Molly Daisy, our Town Clerk, Will Wharton, our IT Director. And we also have with us today Mr. William DeCourcy, who is an IPA Associate Policy Scientist. And as you may be aware, the Institute of Public Administration within the Joseph R. Biden Jr. School of Public Policy and Administration at the University of Delaware has been assisting the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Town Council with the comprehensive plan. Mr. DeCourcy and the IPA have a great deal of knowledge and expertise in producing comprehensive plans. They know what type of information the various Delaware departments and agencies are looking for in municipal and county comprehensive plans and how to present it, and so we're very glad to have his assistance. And just for the record, I'd like to give a little bit of background of how we got to today. As you know, the Planning and Zoning Commission has been reviewing the 2017 five-year update to the 2012-2022 Comprehensive Plan, starting at its November 2020 public meeting. So for over 2.5 years, they have been working on the document at 21 of their monthly public meetings. Starting in November 2022, the Town Council reviewed various chapters that the Commission completed and forwarded to Council, and Council reviewed and revised Chapters 1 to 3 in November 2022, Chapters 4 and 5 in December 2022, Chapters 6, 7, 8 at a joint workshop with the Planning and Zoning Commission in February 2023, and Chapters 9 through 11 at a joint public workshop with the Commission in March 2023. All of the chapters were posted on the town website in advance of the workshop, and members of the public could attend and comment. On May 26, the Town Council and the Planning and Zoning Commission held a joint public hearing to receive any final comments on the document, final public comments. Again, the comprehensive plan was posted on the town website, and it was available at Town Hall. The town did receive comments both at the meeting and well as afterwards. Following that meeting, Mrs. Tiemann and I went back through all the comments received from the Council, the Planning and Zoning Commission, as well as the public since last year to ensure that those we had already agreed to at workshops and meetings were incorporated. We also reviewed and considered all grammatical suggestions that were made and incorporated them as appropriate. After 2.5 years of work by the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Town Council, we are nearing the end of this process. Next week, we will have what is called a plus review with the various state agencies. And I'm going to ask Mr. DeCourcy to explain the purpose of the plus review meeting, how it's conducted, as well as the next steps in this legal process. Mr. DeCourcy.
Good afternoon, Mayor, and thank you, Mayor and Council, for having me. You were asking about the plus review. That's the preliminary land use service. That will be, I believe it's this coming Wednesday, at Hazlitt Armory in Dover. And plus was designed to give state agencies a chance to comment on and coordinate with towns on their comprehensive plans, kind of before the ink is entirely dry. But as you know, with your plan, we've actually been proactive and have reached out to DelDOT and DENREC even earlier on in the process and had some hand-holding with them. So we hope to not be surprised, but the philosophical purpose of plus is so that huge policy decisions aren't made kind of in a vacuum, and then with the state not having any opportunity to assist or to comment. So even though we're pretty much done with our draft, we can still expect, as thoughtful and as meticulous as we've been, to get a 10 or 12 page letter from the state with perhaps one or two things that they would strongly like to see addressed, but more likely 10 or 12 pages of things that maybe programs or grants that we weren't aware of, or whatever. It's really an FYI. So it's another opportunity to go back, because they will have a number of good suggestions. They'll also have some suggestions that wouldn't classify as not good, but some that may not be relevant or some that may not be priorities. So it remains your plan throughout, and unless they ping something to say there's been a new regulation that you weren't aware of and you're going to have to address this, or you're going to have a policy statement on that, then it's more or less all suggestions. And it'll be up to the town which they would care to incorporate and which they just want to, be grateful and to add into things to kind of keep in mind. But it's generally a pretty low-stress affair. I think your plan has been very well reasoned and very well reviewed. So as far as a timeline, since we are going, everyone's aware that the plan was submitted for plus review at the end of this past month. The meeting is June 28th, and then they have 20 working days to give us back their comments, so we can expect that the third week of July, or July 26th. And then depending upon what's in there, the town would technically be in a position to adopt pending certification in August. That might be a little tight, or certainly in September. And once that is done, so the process will be, whatever you like, but what I often do is I'll go through all of their comments. I'll make a little kind of a working document or presentation for the town. If it's really kind of obvious stuff, then I'll go through and make some of the changes myself, and if there's anything that I feel that I need further clarification on, then I'll hand that back to you. But if it's a long way of saying I'm really not sure exactly what'll happen, and what your opinion will be. If it's really, really easy, then perhaps August. If you want a little time to chew on it, then I would expect September.
Thank you. And I understand that we heard back today from the county.
That's right. I just saw that as I parked here. But the county has come back to us with largely no comment. They clarified their own update process. We've heard back from Ocean View and I believe South Bethany. So pretty much everybody we have asked has responded.
And nobody has had any problem with our comprehensive plan?
No, and this was my first time going through the plus process with it used to be a paper form, and it used to be that they required you to attach emails or correspondence to the plan showing that it had been kind of signed off on. That wasn't a request this time, but we did it out of just to be as thorough as possible. So they may or may not ask for that, but in either case, we'll document it because it's good practice to work with those around you.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, excuse me, I missed it. Who is they in Dover that's going to actually look at this document?
Sorry, who's they?
Who is they in Dover that's really going to review this document that you gave to them?
Well, there'll be the Office of the Planning Department.
The planning department,
Well, not Dover's planning, the State Department of Planning.
State Department of Planning.
Department of Agriculture, you put me on the spot here, Department of Education.
Wow.
Fire Marshal, DENREC, DELDOT, Historic Preservation, Housing. I could be
That's
missing one,
fine.
but those,
That's great. I'm amazed that there's that many that's going to look at it.
And will they all be there at the review?
I mean, I can't promise, but generally speaking, they're either all there in person or virtually, and they certainly will have all reviewed it and provided comments. DELDOT usually, I mean, we've already worked with DELDOT some, but they often will finesse the traffic numbers or may have a little bit to add there. The Department of Education or the Fire Marshal, probably not too much with your town. You can rely upon DENREC, and that's good because you do have environmentally sensitive areas and a number of environmental things to always have a lot of thoughtful comments. And so some of the agencies may try to push you a little bit, and not in a bad way, but encourage you to, or show you other steps or policies that you could take and that you might consider, and you may well. Usually there's a range, so.
Thank you.
And you've been through it.
Yeah, so a couple times.
Could you tell us,
It's pretty easygoing. I think the questions, the comments that they have are reasonable. We can easily make those adjustments. They're not like severe, they're more of a clarification more than something that's right or wrong.
oh, he wants you to talk.
Sorry.
That's fine.
The review, for the most part, it goes very well. You obviously, you have to be well prepared, to know what the document is in there, and to be able to address their concerns or questions. And most of the comments over the years, I've been on a couple of them now, they were very appreciative and thought our plans were quite well done. A lot to do with our help we get from our assistants there from your group. And at the end of the day, it's important for us to always to do things that we can accomplish in the plan. You can't have stuff in there that you cannot accomplish or won't accomplish. They don't want to see that in there. But at the same time, they want you to push yourself a little bit too. So it's that balance between the two of looking ahead, looking at the various aspects of the town, from safety to governance, and to make sure that, again, to repeat myself, to make sure that we do these things and we document them very well.
And that's one of the reasons I think that we have in there, we will consider,
Yeah.
rather than we will do, because when you get into the weeds, sometimes it's not doable.
It's not doable
Yeah, okay,
for reasons we didn't even comprehend.
right, okay. Anybody else, any questions? Anybody outside there, anybody? No? Okay, thank you very much, Mr. DeCoursey.
Thank you.
So the purpose of today's meeting is to consider any final additions or revisions that any council member wishes to make based on the public comments received or based on your own final review prior to the plus review. Does any member of council have anything? I think you submitted some things that, that
Yeah.
Mrs. Teeman has already included.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm very pleased she put those in. I thought they were appropriate, and it was good.
And hats off to Terry for doing a great job of
yes,
of
thank you.
of reviewing the document, especially the grammar and stuff like this, and also, yeah, I'm saying to her, yes.
No, we had a great committee, a great team,
Yeah.
and also Mark and John Gong from the Planning Commission, and Terry and I sat down and did a lot of the work, too. And we appreciate all the help that we received from Mr. DeCoursey as well.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes. They did. Yep. It was a team effort.
Oh, it was, I just wanted to,
Oh, and I
especially
can't forget,
recognize-
Mr.
and the town
Gravier
manager,
submitted
obviously.
comments, too.
I just asked Mrs. Teeman to do it.
No, I recognize that. Okay, I have one suggested addition, and I have sent it to the council for review beforehand.
yep.
Will, could you put up that one, yeah, with the underline at the bottom? And by way of background, let me just give you a little explanation here. There was a meeting last January called by Senator Carper to provide local governments with an overview of the newly passed Water Resources Development Act of 2022. DENREC and the United States Army Corps of Engineer officials were also in attendance. Afterwards, I spoke with an attorney from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and the attorney mentioned that when the 50-year renourishment project expires in 2057, that it can be renewed for another 50 years. The attorney suggested that Bethany start working with the Corps in 2047 to do this, since it takes a long time. Following last month's workshop, when the termination of the 50-year agreement was brought up, I spoke with the Corps attorney again, as well as representative from Senator Carper's office, and they suggested a little different approach. They suggested adding a paragraph to the beach replenishment section in the comprehensive plan to explain that the 50-year agreement expires in 2057 and cite the authority for that, and explain the process for renewing the agreement for another 50 years. That way, it's incorporated into the plan, and whoever reviews it for the 2020, 2032, 2042 plan, it won't be lost. It'll, something that will go on. And also, we have some young people on the Planning and Zoning Commission, and we're delegating to them to remember. Because by 2047, hey, I'll be 102.
I think most of us will have passed on to the next.
So the paragraph they suggested, and this was something that I received from them, the paragraph they suggested was, the Corps' 50-year commitment, and it's right up there. Can you enlarge that at all, Will?
Well,
Can that be enlarged?
kick the percentage up,
Yeah.
please?
It's the,
Thank you, Will.
the underlined portion down there, the underlined portion. Yeah,
Right
right
there.
there, right there. Okay, it reads, "The Corps' 50-year commitment to its beach renourishment project in Bethany Beach will expire in 2057. The Corps has the authority to study extending the period of nourishment an additional 50 years, and they give the site as 42 USC 1962D-5F. And they also give a link. To allow sufficient time for planning, budgeting, funding, and executing the study for extending the period of nourishment, as well as for the extension to be authorized, the Corps, as well as the Delaware Congressional Delegation, recommend that Bethany Beach, working with the non-federal sponsor as applicable, contact the Corps, Philadelphia District, at least 10 years before the expiration date in 2047. So I think since we got that, we received that advice from the people who know best, I would like to make a motion that we approve incorporating it into the plan at that point.
I'm gonna second that.
Second,
Is there any discussion?
no, I think it's important.
Great idea.
I agree.
I think
I think
it's
it's
an
great.
important addition to the plan,
Mhm.
especially as our replacements, you know,
Our replacements and their replacements and their
yes,
replacements.
exactly.
We needed a way to have it go down, go on, and they suggested this as the best way of doing it.
I agree.
Agreed.
Any comments? And thank you, Mr. Smith, for raising the issue, because it reminded me of the conversation I had. Okay, with that, I shouldn't be doing this, should you?
Well, it's fine.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. All right. We also incorporated, there were some suggestions last time about the Back Bay study. Those we had received from the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they hadn't been incorporated into that, the April draft that people looked at. So Mrs. Tiemann and I made sure it was incorporated into this one. So I think with that, I'm not sure there's anything else that needs to be
No,
incorporated.
I actually think the plan is very well done, very well accepted, and something that we can actually do in the future.
Does anyone have anything to add? Okay. Well, we'd like to thank everyone, the Planning and Zoning Commission especially, for initiating this and passing it along, and for all the office directors and for everyone who participated in this. It was truly a team effort, and I think it shows. Okay, with that, if there's no further business, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much, everyone.
I'll tell you, when I first did the comprehensive plan, it was a big job.
Yeah.